Welcome to the official AFL Fantasy podcast with the Traders.
G'day with the Traders. I'm Roy. I coach Destroy, and I'm here with Warnie.
Coach of the Wander.
And Calvin.
Coach of Calvinator, Roy.
Now I'm very excited,
I can
boys,
tell.
because the Blue Boys are back again. Just like last year.
Yeah.
And the year before. Okay, but I'm going to be more sensible this year and keep a lid on it.
Okay.
And I'm just going to play every person on their merits.
Okay.
And judge accordingly.
Right.
We'll be the judges of that.
Okay.
Yes, we
Sam
will.
Walsh.
Oh,
What's he got average, Roy?
A heap. Like 120. No, not really.
No.
So here's the deal. Sam Walsh had an amazing year.
Didn't he ever?
He's had an amazing year every year of his career, but there was one thing that we were always worried about, and it was whether he was ready to have that ceiling.
Yeah.
Well, he had 6 scores in the 120s. He got a 130, and he had that 155
Wow.
as well. So he's shown that, okay? The next worry with Sam Walsh is how is he going to deal with the tag? Now, his only bad game of the year last year was tag affected.
Yep.
But it was like he learnt from it. And then from thereafter, he'd get tagged.
Yeah.
And it would mean he wouldn't get his 150, but no one gets a 150 tagged.
No.
What he did do, though, was he would find a way to get still to that 100 because he just ran them into the ground. So at 109 average, he is a little bit unders, up to 6 points.
he's not any worse than 110.
No way. No.
He's better than a 110.
I can see a 115.
Agreed.
If he could actually get a little bit of support from
Yeah.
the other midfielders, that 115 should be attainable.
Very much.
Thoughts?
Yep. Can you start with him at that in your classic side?
Well, you probably can, to be honest. I reckon some good teams will. I think that 115 target is enough to probably justify it if you want him as your number one mid.
I guess the biggest questions for me is the inclusions into their side.
Yeah.
So you've got Cerra there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say an inclusion would be hopefully a fit Patrick Cripps.
Yeah.
Now, you're hot
that
on Cripps.
changes stuff.
You're hot on Cripps.
Oh, just because I feel like his value. You can't ignore the value that he would be for what he's done in the past.
I feel like a fit Cripps does nothing more than help Sam get a little bit more easy
Agree,
ball.
yes.
So I'm not thinking a fit Cripps actually hurts Sam at all. So Cripper, he's worth a look at in his own merit. So 686 for him. To think you can get Cripper, who's in the prime age bracket, and he's averaged 109 in the past. It just feels like that is a bargain. It has to be. But last year we thought he was going to be better than he was the previous year. And he really looked like he was struggling to get around the park.
Yeah, he was 12 points worse last year than what we thought he was as a bargain.
Well, this is where he's gone. So he had that 109 year in 2018, then 101, then 94, and now down to the 82. Like, it's just that.
It's a slide.
Almost,
It
yeah,
is.
and it's almost a linear progression slide.
Yeah, it is. It's just someone like him. I have full confidence that turns around.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like, he can't average under 90 this year going forward in my eyes.
Yeah, I feel like he's 100 plus.
I think he could be under 90 again.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, if you watch how he played last year,
Yeah.
you would 100% be justified thinking that.
So where would you draft him around the average range of the other players? He's there at an 82.
Yeah.
He's not lasting that long in a draft.
No, agree. He'd be in that 90 to 95 group for
Would
me.
you be happy to take him in that group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you would. Because he's got the ability to
go
be
even
a
bigger.
110.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, he's one you're going to have to consider. At the moment, I can't see how I would leave Patrick Cripps out of my team at that price.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just too low.
The cow's not.
No, not for me.
Okay. Now,
Yeah, me.
you know,
Too cheap.
the Blues have drafted and traded to bolster their midfield, and that's supposed to help out those two.
And then play him in the back line.
Well, yeah, and it's
Attack
probably going to happen again with Hewitt.
Right.
So Hewitt, he's another one. He knows how to do the grunt work in the midfield.
Does jobs.
Yeah, he does jobs. He can find the pill while doing jobs. He finished the season really well. He had 91, 96 and 106 in his last 3 for the Swans.
Yeah.
A couple of those games, he racked up possessions. One, he racked up, I think, double-figure tackles. So he is quite versatile with his scoring. Now, they've said he's going to come in as a midfielder to take that pressure off Cripps and Walsh, the same as we heard about Zac Williams last year.
Here we go.
So, I don't know. especially in draft as a defender, I reckon you can launch into him earlier than his average of 64. Yep. The fact that he's at least going to be given the chance to have midfield time, I'm bumping that. Right.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, so here's an interesting one. That price of $5.37, that's underpriced for Classic. I guarantee he will outscore that, but it's just not enough for the guys in that price range, I think.
Well said.
Yep. Now, Zac Williams. We have to talk about him.
Hit the button.
$600K.
Exactly. That's why the button shouldn't be pressed. $600.
How much did we pay for him last year?
Any less, and he's in the 500,000s. How cheap is that? So here's the deal. He was awful. Last year. Now, they gave him a chance in the midfield for a couple of weeks, and then they were like, "What? Get some fitness, mate. Yeah. Injury, suspension, form.
It wasn't good.
No, it wasn't good. But that leaves us with a little bit of a bargain. Now,
so you think back to this time last year. Yeah. He was 82. Price of 82 and such value at that time. And so he's dropped.
We're so lucky he got suspended that last round of the preseason. Anyway, with him, we need to think about something. So he recognises last year wasn't fit enough. Okay. And that's not okay. So I'd like to think this year he's actually doing something about that. To be priced at that, now I've just got to remind you, we look for things they've done in the past to show potential.
Yes.
Now, in that last 10 rounds of that 2019, I think it was, for the Giants, played as a midfielder those last 10 weeks, averaged 106. That's elite for a defender worth $600,000 who is in the prime of his career.
But will he play in that midfield?
If he's fit, he will.
How many spots are there in the Carlton midfield?
Well, if he's fit, he would run through there. Now, the problem is, while Doc's still recovering, you would think Zac is holding down one of those back flanks.
So what have they got
with
there?
Sard on the other one.
Newman back there
to be
as
a back
well.
pocket, I would assume. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking there. But even as a back flank, what he can do, if he's fit, that is pretty cheap.
There's upside.
There is 100%
I
upside.
agree with that.
But you couldn't do it.
He can't be any worse than he was last year.
Will you do it?
He's in my black book.
He's
on the watch list.
Okay.
He's priced at 72.
Yeah, I know.
72 for a team that's on the rise.
Why are they on the rise?
Because they're about to go bang.
Oh, because they've got an easy schedule.
They've got an easy draw.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And a new coach as well. So, all right.
Get one every year.
Marchbank.
Right. Okay. Right.
Marching all the way to the bank. Yeah, yes. Exactly right. So March is under 300,000. 294. Now, he doesn't set the world on fire.
Doesn't need
to.
But
what Marchie is capable of is an average of 70. Okay. So a few years ago, 2017, I have to go back to for Marchie.
Go back a long way.
Because he's had a shocking run. No, he's had a shocking run. Okay, that's why we've got a bargain on our hands. So average 69 from 16 games.
Okay.
Imagine that at D6.
Yeah.
A walk-up player, if he's fit, we don't have to worry about is he going to get picked each week. It's not one of them guys.
Yeah.
It is someone who's reliable and he's going to go up a truckload if he's hitting the park.
Okay. Is he going to be hitting the park?
I think so.
Okay.
Signs are good at this stage.
Okay.
Dog, you would be happy putting him on your
definitely
ground to round it out?
And it's a lot of this time as well. We don't know what we're going to be getting in the different positions via rookies that price you might need to spend. And this is something that's been in my head a lot is COVID. You might want those more established guys and pay a bit extra for them just to have them there.
Yeah. So
that's something we might need to do.
Job security is even more important than ever.
Always outweighs potential. But, even more so, I reckon.
Because, it's not a sexy pick.
No, boy.
Because you're paying a bit for it.
You can tick along.
Yeah, 100%. Now, this is awkward price and that, and he hasn't played for about as long as Marchbank, but you've got to hear me out. Charlie Curnow, 347.
Yeah, okay.
347. Now, I say he hasn't played much, but he played the most important. The last 4 games of last season.
Right.
When all they wanted to do was get him through.
Yeah.
All they wanted to do was get him through. Okay? Didn't push him too hard. He averaged 51 in that time. Right. Oh, boring. Who cares? He has averaged over 70 twice in his career. He is young and he is an absolute gun. So if I can just flick your mind back to 2019.
Okay, I'm going back there now.
Round 13.
I remember.
Are you there?
Yep, got it.
He had 7 marks and kicked 7 goals for 122.
I remember it.
That's like complete domination.
Yes.
That's what he's capable of. The dude can run through the middle. He can play forward. There's not that heavy reliance on him forward because of McKay, so he will be able to push up the ground. Think about that. He's priced at 41.
An average of 41, yeah.
How do you say no to that? How do you say no to that?
Yeah.
Have you seen what his rig looks like?
I have seen his
you
rig.
know I revert back to rig status. He's looking as fit as ever, but not quite as big, leaner.
Ooh,
so there's not that
okay.
pressure on his knees. So I don't know. At 41, I don't know how you say no to that. Imagine if he does just, he hasn't been great. He's only averaging his 70.
I feel
It's up 30.
I know. I feel he's a guy you jump on, but you don't start with.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not going to see something you jump on.
If he comes out and has 122,
So what
But I'm
spud
on
did
that.
I pay that? Like I paid that much for Fantasia last year. He's not half the player that Curnow is.
Could he be a Tex Walker?
Well, he's not actually going to come and pump huge scores to start
Okay.
with.
But he scored 122.
look, I'll tell you
Well,
what.
he did, but he's going to take a few weeks to get to that.
I'll be in the middle. I'll meet in the middle. I'll put him in the book.
Thank you.
He's in
Okay,
the
as
book.
long as he's in
No,
the
he's
book.
worth a look.
100% he's worth a
very
look.
early
My
in the
issue
year.
with that, though,
41.
I know.
He'll get that in a quarter.
we'll probably talk about him in the next podcast, but I think you've got a lot of players that are good. Like in the forward line, we've got some good premiums that maybe you may call underpriced, and you probably want 3 of them at least, maybe 4. And where you're going to be able to fit these guys, because I think for 40 grand more, you're going to get Will Brodie, which we'll talk about in the next in a couple of episode times, I think. So I'd prefer to pay 40 grand more for Will Brodie than take Curnow.
You can have both, dog.
You could have both, but
it's
you
true.
can only fit so many in there.
Yeah, no, it's a very relevant point. Now, looking at the youngsters, so as far as draftees go, Jesse Motlop's come in, 238. I guess he's a chance to get games as a small forward. Like Eddie Betts is out.
Yeah.
Do they just put Motlop straight in? I don't know. Always, he plays small forward as well. Like,
Just
I don't
points
know.
aren't really going to flow, are
No,
they?
he's not going to average 50
And I think
points.
that's the thing with Motlop as well, is that what are we paying for him? 238.
Yeah.
So you're paying that bit more. You might be able to get something from...
So he played 8 senior games in the Waffle
yes,
last
that's
year.
positive. Sub 50 average, though,
Sub
wasn't it?
50 average, 8 touches a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a no. But someone worth looking at is Kemp. So when Kemp was drafted, what would that be? Back in 2019, they drafted him with his, I think it was an
Injury,
ACL. So went number 17. I think he's ready to go. So he played a couple of games to end the season. His last game was 57 with 6
Okay.
marks. Now, you take that from a rookie.
Yep.
If he has a good preseason, I like the thought of putting him maybe on the pine or, D6 if you're really risque.
Yep. I like that.
Yeah. So apart from that, is there anyone else you guys looked at scanning your
I
eyes
guess
over that?
if we see players that may have played some games that could be in the good books with Voss.
Yes.
So Corey Durden played 2 games last year. Didn't score much, but so his basement price at 190. Sam Philp. He played a couple of games in Corona Bowl year.
Yeah.
So he's 205. Like, if they are in the mix.
Have you ever watched Philpy play?
No.
No,
Have you?
I have.
So that's why he's not mentioned.
Correct.
Right.
Here's a name that we haven't discussed.
Who's that?
Paddy Dow.
Look, I wouldn't have even gone there.
Okay.
Like, he's not even a joke anymore.
Still cheap.
Very cheap.
He's so cheap. And did you see a couple of quarters there? He was on fire.
Thanks so much for tuning into another riveting
Hey,
club
come on.
preview. No.
You've started thinking about a couple of them dudes. Cal,
Yes.
you're thinking about maybe putting Walsh and Cripper in there. You've locked Kempy in.
Kemp's in.
Curnow's probably...
He's in the book.
Cow's going to upgrade to it.
That's right. No, you're considering it. Marchie?
Yeah, I like Margie.
Yeah. Anyway, so, Dog, you're putting a dampener on it.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stay tuned for the next one. Hit up afl.com.au and the AFL Live app for more fantasy content this preseason.